Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you stand, we'll have our invocation, our pledge of allegiance, please. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we are grateful for such a beautiful day that you've given to us. We ask that tonight you will enter this council chamber, be with us as we make decisions for our community. Bless all those who are in attendance here tonight. And we pray, oh Lord, that you would give us strength to do those things that are pleasing in your sight. And we make our prayer in your Son's name. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's move on to our first item, which is our audience for visitors. I have three speakers here, and there may be others. How about we start with Mrs. Elmore? Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Myra Elmore, and I have spoken to you previously concerning the cul-de-sac at the end of Hunts Neck Road. My siblings and I own the house at 328 Hunts Neck Road. I have some handouts that I would like to give to you for your consideration. And I don't know what the procedure
Mrs. Elmore,
is.
just hold those till you get finished, and then if you want to give them to our clerk, that you'll distribute those. Is there something we need to follow along with you? If you want to give them to our clerk, that she'll pass them out. Thanks, ma'am. Thank you.
And there's one for
Okay,
your
Ms. Elmore?
attorney. Yes.
We're ready.
Okay. If you will turn to the third page of this little flyer thing right here, it points out the things that I would like to bring to your attention. And the fourth page is where I'm going to start. Gail Beagle, who is also here this evening, and I decided that we needed to find out exactly how many of the residents in the Western Precinct were pro or against changing the cul-de-sac at the end of Hunts Neck Road in any way. And so we devised a petition with help from my brother, and we went door to door and hit practically every single house from the end of Hunts Neck Road all the way up through Roberts Landing Road. We did have some volunteers who said they were going to canvass their street for us. So virtually every house, which is a lot of houses, between the end of Hunts Neck Road all the way up to Susan Drive, and we could keep going if you need more, but you have in your hand 181 signatures who are against any changes in the cul-de-sac at the end of Hunts Neck Road. Now we can keep going and get more, and I think Gail said she just got 3 more today. So if the people were home and came to the door, we spoke to them individually. If they were not home or they didn't come to the door, we put a flyer in their mailbox. And we determined, this is really important, out of 181 signatures, I encountered only one gentleman on Roberts Landing Road, and I don't know his name, but I can tell you what house he lives in and I can describe him, and he was in favor of a parking lot. One person out of 181. Now, I'm assuming there is another neighbor that wants to have that because he's the one that keeps bringing it up to you. So that is very, very impactful to me, that 181 people said no. We don't want any changes. Don't change it. Don't put a parking lot. Don't do anything. We enjoy it the way it is. They universally asked if they could help, and they all asked if they could be notified of what your decision is about what this is going to, what decision that you make concerning the cul-de-sac. And I don't know exactly unless we go back to each individual house again and say, give them your decision. But that is very, very impactful to me and important to me because we never really knew how many people. We knew that we had talked to people and we had mentioned it. But these are people who are willing to put their names on a piece of paper and their addresses and the date they signed that petition. That's a lot of people. And they were also very interested and very shocked to know at the legal expenses my family and I have been put through. To date, we have spent over $14,000 in legal fees just battling this decision that seems to go on forever and forever. It's been 14 months, plus there were times before that this issue was brought up. It seems like there is no end in sight. It's going on and on and on. It's unconscionable to us that it keeps going on. It could have been resolved in 2010, 14 years ago, when we responded in writing about surveys that were being done that were inaccurate regarding our property. Could have been resolved in a person-to-person phone call, meeting, just talking to us rather than send out a summons that said, and I'm going to read this because this really scared us. It said, we were causing tortuous injury by an act or omission in this Commonwealth, and the party upon whom this summons and the attached complaint are served is hereby notified that unless within 21 days after such service, response is made by filing in the clerk's office of this court a pleading in writing in proper legal form, the allegations and charges may be taken as admitted, and the court may enter an order, judgment, or decree against such a party, either by default or after hearing evidence. We indisputably own the land. It cannot be said that we don't own this land. We have a deed for the property written and filed by Attorney Cecil Moore, a previous Poquoson city attorney. The Poquoson GIS is incorrect. The GIS is incorrect. It is correct for our 1967 deed, but not for Leonard Moore's 1919 deed and our subsequent 2005 deed. I happen to be a genealogist with 35 plus years of experience, and I love getting in old records. It's like a contest to me. I know how to search courthouse records. We have hundreds, 3 huge notebooks of pages of courthouse and historical records, maps, land plats, surveys. I drove to Richmond and looked up the York County Board of Supervisor minutes and meeting notes from the 1920s and 1930s. You had to requisition it because they told me it was not available in York County. Those minutes are not here in York County. They're in Richmond. We interviewed people. We have photographs. I interviewed, and my brother was here, we interviewed the 2 still living Warnham brothers who remember Warnham's Wharf. Their grandfather built it. They had all kinds of stories about it, and it was private. Warnham's Wharf, also called Hunt's Wharf, was a private enterprise. There are no records of public ownership or public right-of-way of the present road. In 1919, Leonard Moore purchased the land. In March 1922, Gerard Chambers, who was a surveyor, defined the northern border of Leonard Moore's property at the location of Warnham's Wharf at 65 degrees. The wharf was built in 1895, and it was demolished in 1925. The posts for the wharf are still on our property. Traversing a pond and identified as the correct location in the 1932 survey. The present road location skirted that pond to the left and over Leonard Moore's property. It was a handshake by her ancestors and Edith's grandfather that he told, because it was a pond and it flooded every time the water tide came in, that they could move the road a little bit to the left to pick up children because buses couldn't drive in that water. And so that's why the road was moved originally, and it was a handshake. There are no records of that. I searched everywhere. I searched in Richmond. I searched everywhere. The school board minutes didn't acknowledge it. It was never conveyed to the school board or to Poquoson. April 1922, the present location was declared public by the York County Board of Supervisors without fee. The Leonard Moore descendants knew their border, as did attorney Cecil Moore. Cecil Moore and Leonard Moore were first cousins. They knew where their property boundaries were. Attorney Andy Bradshaw was commissioned to do a title search of our property, and he came up with a 90-page document that the land was private with no public right-of-ways except for the present road, and his is a legal opinion. It's a professional title research.
Ms. Elmore,
Yes,
I'm going to ask you to try to bring that to a close, if you would.
I will. This is the last thing. We're asking you what we and our neighbors could possibly do that would hasten the end of this legal battle. What process do we need to follow once and for all to convince the Poquoson City Council to believe that the majority of local neighbor residents do not want changes, especially a parking lot, at the end of Hunts Neck Road? What do we have to do to convince City Council to instruct the city attorney to drop the land grab for our property, something that no one wants? If this was your personal land, what would you do? For 14 months, you have imposed emotional and financial strain and pain on us to defend that land that our father, a 3-war veteran, toiled to buy, improve, and love. This is our neighborhood and our land. We appreciate that people who don't live there want it, or want more access of it. But that was not a condition in 1967 when we bought it, or in 1919 when Leonard Moore bought it. Please consider what the people say that they don't want. Please stop this legal case. Please change the GIS so that people can see who owns it. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
No questions, Ms. Elmore.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gail?
Good evening, everyone. And Myra, thank you for all of that and all of the work that your family has done, along with, I know, our family and my mom's help as well. Myra addressed the history and a lot of the land ownership and the deeds and all of that. And I actually have some of the originals. She actually had to go and reread through some of that old writing script and type it out. And not everybody can do that, so I'm very grateful for that. You all may be receiving emails because on that petition that we went around door to door with people that weren't home, they got a flyer in their mailbox, and it included your email addresses. I have been told by several residents that they have already sent emails and several others that they will be. So hopefully you have gotten some, and we'll be on the lookout for those as well, and hopefully they don't go to your junk or spam. Officials have attempted to make this residential Hunts Neck Road area a public attraction. It is not. It is our residential neighborhood. It's not zoned commercial, and it is not a public attraction. While it is beautiful to look at, people come down there and look at it, and we are very appreciative of it, and we love that people like to come and look at it and take pictures. The photographs that the Elmores prepared on your handout were taken from Facebook, and photo credit to that person that came down and took that. And I love looking at their photos as well. But this is not a public attraction it is a residential area. We have addressed this with the city in 1998, 2002, 2005, 2010, 2018, and again in 2023, which continues today. And I have one question with all of that, because all of you have not necessarily been on city council through all of these times that our families have had to address this. My question is, at what point is the harassment of this neighborhood going to stop? It is not just our families, it is our neighborhood on Hunts Neck Road and the offshoots of Hunts Neck Road. I appreciate the time. And on top of that, I also would like to say a positive comment. I know that you all have addressed the contractors doing the With Creek Road, and when they do their asphalt repair, it has been very rough. And I know you all have been contacting them, and I want to just say thank you. I've noticed a slight improvement the last few times driving on it. I know they have a lot of work to do and working around the weather and whatnot, but we don't all want to have front end alignments on our cars. So thank y'all for being on them on that.
Thank you, Gail. Mr. Creasman?
There you go. I'm here to disagree about y'all's vote last council meeting to put a commercial business.
Mr. Creasman, we need to know who you are and where you live, please.
218 East Yorktown Road,
Which is in York County, is that correct?
which is right across the street from where this is going to go at.
Thank you.
And you don't seem to care that it's going to be. Y'all discussed how this is a junkyard.
Excuse me. I'm going to caution you about your tone.
My tone.
I'm going.
Freedom of speech. You're going to go in.
I am going to
Freedom of speech?
caution you about your tone. Nobody here has been disrespectful to you.
All right. I'll calm down. But I'm not.
You're going to need to, or you're going to leave.
Oh, is that what it's going to be?
That's how it'll be.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm calm down.
Continue.
All right. Y'all voted on this to put a commercial business in a residential neighborhood. Y'all don't care. Y'all discussed how there's junk cars there all the time, and you're going to allow up to 15 junk cars, non-running cars in this in this place. This just goes against the whole charter or the planning commission, what you're supposed to do with Poquoson. Y'all said in y'all's future history of Poquoson, y'all didn't want to have commercial business in residential areas. This is a residential area. The piece of property you're letting this go to is zoned residential. You talked about putting all the commercial business on With Creek and on Victory. That's in your comprehensive plan for the city of Poquoson. Y'all just gone right against it. Y'all don't seem to care that it's not in front of your house, so who cares? You just don't care. And I've got no other way to do but come to this meeting and discuss and give my anger of what y'all are doing. Putting it right across the street from my house where I got to listen to all this noise from all the cars coming in and out, the record coming in and out night and day. Plus, who's going to decide which is non-working and working vehicles? You say 15. Well, they can have 50 cars there, but they can say only 15 of them are non-working. They can have 50 cars, so it's going to be a junkyard. And like I said, y'all discussed that meeting about how Mr. Fay even brought up about, is it going to mean they're going to move some of their cars off of the With Creek shop to this new one? Because y'all want the junk out of Poquoson, but you're going to put it in front of somebody else's house. You just don't seem to care. And it looks to be, from what I can see, y'all's legacy is going to be the people that ruined Poquoson, is what it is. And so I just can't see how you're going to do this. It goes against your own plan, your own what y'all said you were trying to do, or a comprehensive plan. And all I can do, I said I can't afford to hire a lawyer to try to fight it. I'm just a poor man, I'm a working man, and that's all I can do. So you'll see me every meeting from now. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna be standing up on the street here with a sign too, talking about how y'all just ruined Poquoson. And I hope you understand. You even mentioned that if we complain enough, maybe you can pull the permit. Once they build a 50 by 100 commercial 4-bay garage there, it's never going to leave. You might kick them out, somebody else will come in. So you're basically changing the zoning in a residential neighborhood into a commercial property is what y'all are doing. And you don't seem to care. It's every one of you voted yes. So I hope you're happy the way y'all want to be seen in Poquoson, because I've talked to a lot of people, and everybody's thinking y'all just ruining Poquoson. You just ruined it. The legacy down in Poquoson, that big monstrosity, Ryan Homes. I do home repair, and I work on Ryan Homes. 10 years from now, when they start falling apart, they're turning into junk, because that's what Ryan Homes, they do minimum code is what they do. They just barely meet codes what they do when they build houses. And they're just going to start falling apart, and it's going to be just a big old slum area in Poquoson is what's going to be. So I hope y'all are happy with y'all's legacy for Poquoson. Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Anyone else? All right, let's move on. We have a special presentation from Mrs. Margaret McYarrow. Am I right? Yes. Okay, Margaret, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mayor, City Manager, and council members for allowing me to come today on short notice to speak about an urgent need that we have, obviously in the locality of Poquoson as well as York, but I would like to speak specifically to York County tonight. We are desperately in need of developing more resource families, specifically for foster care and respite care. We are seeing an all-time high, unfortunately, in children that have entered into our care. Specifically, we're at the count of 31 cases, which in over 3 years of my time as the Director of Social Services, we have never seen. Not to be displacent to this county, but 7 of those cases are specifically from Poquoson in less than 12 days.
I'm sorry, how many?
12.
Okay.
So we have an urgent need to recruit more people that are willing to provide foster care or respite care. I know sometimes there is a misnomer that they sometimes think that if you enter somebody in foster care, it's very long term. And yes, there is term lengths that come with that, but we're also willing to recruit for short term, which is more of a respite care. And that's an initiative across the state. We are not the only localities, so I don't want to be screaming out the sirens and say that Poquoson or York County is seeing something different that the state as a whole is not. What I will urge, and thank you again tonight for allowing me the moment to speak, is that when we cannot place these families within counties or areas with kinship care, which is of course what we always try to do, to include friends and family, that means we are placing these children into localities far across the state. And I know that Poquoson, as well as York County, but I'm speaking to Poquoson tonight, we like to keep our families together. Social services is not the system that it was 30 years ago. We look to rehabilitate the entire family, to reunite families. We are not about permanently placing children away from their families because evidence and data suggests that they obviously return to those families. So I would just like to just plug tonight and leave some information, if I could, with the city clerk of how to become a foster parent, what that means for people that are interested. Certainly I don't want to promote it from a financial aspect, but I do think I need to educate the community that it's not an entirely out-of-pocket expense. There's quite a bit that's reimbursed by state and federal dollars, in addition to the fact that we just have a very large need, unfortunately, in this time for children to receive the help that they need. So I thank you for your time today and allowing me to present. And if I may do so, I'd like to leave with Mrs. Healy.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely,
information on
absolutely. And thank you so much for the job that you and your others do. That's
appreciate
a
it.
tremendous asset to our community and certainly to York County as well.
Thank you so much.
Is your information
It's
on-
current, it's up to date. It's very easy to apply online, but I will also just go ahead and say, since I know we're televised tonight, that I personally, as the director, somebody can call me at 757-890-3939. I am the director. You're welcome to email me. You can look me up. Mine doesn't go to an inbox. It goes directly to me, and I will make sure that anybody that is interested, willing, would like information, we would be happy to welcome any families that would do so. Because it is the strength of Poquoson, obviously York County, but I'm speaking to Poquoson tonight, that we've been able to keep the families together or reunite them, and it's my goal as a director to continue to do that. So I thank you for your time tonight, and thank you so much for allowing me to make this presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, permission
Go
to
ahead.
ask for a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't know, and many people at home don't know, you said respite care, and that apparently is short-term care.
Yes, sir,
When
it
you
is.
say short-term, what are you talking about?
Well, that's a wonderful question. So, and thank you for asking that. So, of the 7 families that received, and I'm going to speak to Poquoson tonight, right? I did get families that were able to step up, other than the ones that I had unfortunately had to place out of the area of York and Poquoson. But like all of us, right, we have lives. We have vacations that are planned. We have family reunions. We have different events that come up. The problem becomes that in an entrustment in care or somebody that we put into custody of a care, we have to have another provider. So it's really important that some people say, well, I'm not committed to the 30, 60, 90-day thing, right? I may have other children in care. I may have other obligations. I may have jobs. I may have many reasons that I can't do that. But if you could provide a weekend that allows somebody that is willing to take that long haul or that care, that's very important to us, because that's even fewer than the foster care placement, if you will. I also thank you for asking. The other thing I would like to emphasize, we do have a couple of families in Poquoson that have been just absolute rock stars that have always worked with us. Even if you are a parent that, say, you have a job and you can't take in a younger infant or a toddler or a non-school age child, we can help to provide assistance for child care so that you could still take that child in. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of that. And so I could come before you tonight to just implore that I know that Poquoson is a city that takes of its own, and it takes care of the pride in its community. And it would be wonderful if we could have growth within our resource families and respite care families that would be willing to do so. Because these are children that we're looking to return to the community. We're looking to help the family as a whole. But without those resources, it becomes very hard when you have to displace families across states and try to keep them reunited, because we facilitate the visitations. We supply with the needs that the family has, both the foster care as well as the family that we're displacing from. And I think that sometimes the social service system from 30 years ago, if I may be quite honest, is thought of more of a food stamps, or we're a temporary Band-Aid. Social services is much more than that. And our goal is not to displace people. It's not to rip children from their homes. Our goal is to embrace the family as a whole, help and support the families, provide the self-sufficiency, and return them in homes that they belong. Because ultimately, they do return.
May I ask a further question, please?
Sure, sir.
Okay. So when you say respite care, are you talking about someone to take care of the kids when the family they're staying with is going on vacation, or just for shorter times? And if you sign up to be a foster parent, we're talking about 3 months, 6 months, a year. I mean, we're not talking about pets. We're talking about children. Okay?
Absolutely, sir. That's a great question. So when we talk about respite care, I'm not talking about a family that we say, yeah, we're going to give you a 24-hour break, right?
Okay.
And then you don't have to watch your kids. I'm talking about that if we find a placement for a family that goes into foster care, but for the instances that I mentioned to you, perhaps that family already has a planned vacation where they've paid for their family to go somewhere. And may I just say that both Poquoson and York County is wonderful. I am beyond proud of the fact as a director that I sign more releases for children to go to Disney World, vacations that I can't even afford my own child. And they take them with them. But sometimes, right, those things are pre-planned in advance. They can't make additions to it. So it's more of a temporary fix. And those can also be, as long as they're approved, family members of the people that are willing to take them in for a longer term. I'm never dishonest with families when they are willing to take somebody in for foster care. Of course, we work as quickly as we can to reunite the families, but I don't paint a painted picture that says that it's any less. You know, if you think that you're taking in a child that's any less than 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, that's probably not likely, depending on what the children came into care for. Is it substance abuse? Is it substance exposed? Is it neglect? Is it physical condition of where they're living, right? That we can't approve for a child to be in a home that's not livable. So that varies in length, but I will say that at a minimum, it's certainly not less than 30 days. Respite care is definitely less than 30 days. That could be 48 hours. That could be a week's vacation, but it's not meant to be a long-term solution, such as a foster care parent. So thank you for asking.
Well, thank you very much. Poquoson is full of really good people, okay? And I'm certain anyone listening to you tonight would say, well, maybe I could help, but, you know, I don't know what that is. So I wanted to ask those questions because I didn't know the answers either.
Well, I want to thank you. The city manager was kind enough, and I'm participating in Thursday in a community forum also with other community partners. And I will say this, that the strength of Poquoson and York County, but I'm speaking to Poquoson tonight, is the strength of its community partners. And this is where we need to put forth this initiative, this request, and this urgent need, because you're absolutely right. They step up to the plate. I've never been not shocked by the amount of wrap arms around the community. Is it a little surprising that we had this much within one time? It is, but I'd like to think that this is an anomaly, but at the same time, it also says that we need to grow our resources and our strength, because if we don't, what happens is, as proud communities that like to support the citizens in our county, I'm having to unfortunately displace children much further locations across the state, and that doesn't keep families together, and that is what social services is about.
Well, thank you, and that's the reason I asked that question, because if those families of kids from Poquoson already enrolled in Poquoson schools, if they can stay in
We don't want to
Poquoson,
disclose them.
they can continue to go to Poquoson schools and not be different.
And that, sir, that's ultimately our goal. It always is. Whether it's friends, kinship, we always look immediately to see what can we tap into resource. What are families willing to do for entrustment? This isn't about permanently removing children from their home and never returning them, because quite frankly, over the last 30 years, that doesn't work. That's not the system that we are today. We have to support not just the children, certainly first and foremost, but we also have to give the supports to the family to make sure that we can return them and allow people. We're not here to determine who's a better parent than another parent, but we are here to protect the children and the adults of the community. And so I come to you as a community tonight that is very strong in its connections, and just say that we are urgently needing other people to come forth and step forward that may be interested. Just because you reach out doesn't mean that you're applying for a foster parent. Maybe you just need more information, or maybe you know somebody else who is. We're just looking to expand our community of resources.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Thanks again. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. All righty. We have 2 sessions that we need to adopt the minutes. First, the work session of February 12th, 2024.
Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes of the work session of 12 February as presented.
Okay?
Second.
All right. There's a motion made second. We adopt the work session minutes. Any concerns, comments, any questions regarding those? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilman Hucks,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett. Aye. Councilwoman Bunting. Aye. Councilman Five.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Thanks, Kim. And our regular session?
Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes of the city council meeting of 12 February as they were presented.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Motion made second. We adopt those minutes as well. Any concerns, comments, questions? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilman Hucks,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting. Aye. Councilman Five.
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett. Aye. Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Thanks, Kim. Let's move on to item F. It's a public hearing, constrained capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2025 and beyond fiscal year 2029.
Mayor, council members, thank you. Tonight, we have our public hearing for our CCIP. If you recall, in our last session, we had a work session to discuss the constrained capital improvement project. Tonight, we're bringing forth to you for that approval request.
You did an excellent presentation, by the way, at our last work session. And I think maybe all of our questions may have been answered. That's just how good a job you did. Awesome. So unless there are any questions of Tanya, we're going to open the public hearing and ask if there's...
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I was just clearing my throat.
Oh, okay. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. We'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone in our audience that would like to address this item. Okay, I see none, so we'll close the public hearing, and we need some action from council.
Mayor, I move that we approve a resolution to approve the constrained capital improvements plan, the CCIP, for fiscal year 2025 and beyond fiscal year 2029.
Thanks, sir.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made and second. Do we adopt that? Any concerns or comments? Any more questions? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilwoman Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Hucks?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Mayor Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Okay, thanks, Kim. Let's move on to new business. First item, an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2024 in the Capital Projects Fund for the Victory Legacy Traffic Signal Project. Randy?
Mr. Mayor, Garrett Figgins was here for engineering tonight. The
Okay.
city engineer had an illness at home, and so Garrett was kind enough to step in, and he'll present this item.
Thank you for doing that, Garrett.
No problem. Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, City Manager. I'm here to present for your consideration an ordinance appropriating funding in the amount of $350,000 for the signalized intersection project at Victory and Legacy Boulevard. A signal board analysis was completed back in January of 2023, showing the need for a traffic signal at this intersection. In order to proceed to advertisement for this project, we have presented an ordinance appropriating $250,000 in proffers received from the developer, $94,145 in net proceeds from the sale of land within Legacy, and $5,855 from the undesignated fund balance in the Capital Projects Fund. This totals the $350,000 presented for consideration.
Okay. Thank you, Garrett. Any questions of Garrett? We're all aware that we're going to get a signal there. Okay, did you keep your something?
No.
Okay. All righty. Okay, Garrett, thanks so much. Well done. We need to adopt that ordinance then.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve an ordinance making an additional appropriation for fiscal year 2024 in the Capital Projects Fund for the Victory Legacy Traffic Signal Project.
Thanks, sir.
Second?
All right, motion made and seconded. We adopt the ordinance. Any concerns, comments, any other questions? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Councilman Hucks?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting?
Aye.
Mayor Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
Thanks, Kim. Item 2 is an ordinance making an additional appropriation for fiscal year 2024 in the general fund utilizing unrestricted fund balance for York County Shared Judicial Services. Hi, Tara.
Good evening.
Good evening.
At the end of fiscal year 2023, the unrestricted fund balance increased by $1.6 million to $10.3 million. And at the December 11th, 2023 City Council meeting, you approved a supplemental appropriation to use $500,000 of this balance. Tonight, you have an ordinance for consideration to use an additional $89,373 of this unrestricted fund balance towards the true-up of York County. The city has an agreement with York County to provide shared judicial services, which includes costs for the Commonwealth Attorney, Juvenile Domestic Relations Court, Clerk of the Court, Sheriff, and certain maintenance and operation costs for the court buildings. And based on our agreement with York, typically we receive this true-up number to include in the following year's budget. When we received the FY 2025 budget projection from York, there was this $89,373 true-up that was included from 2023. York County explained that this was due to inflationary increases as well as mid-year adjustments for recruitment and retention bonuses for the Sheriff's Office. To give you some perspective, I looked back, and at fiscal year 2022, our true-up was $5,801. And then from fiscal year 2021 true-up, it was actually less than the budget projection, and it was a credit of $60,793. So you can see this year's true-up was a bit higher than in previous years, and it is one-time in nature. So we are recommending the use of the unrestricted fund balance to pay this true-up amount rather than increasing the FY 2025 budget for this. So therefore, you have an ordinance making an additional appropriation in the general fund for the reappropriation of unrestricted fund balance in the amount of $89,373. And I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions of Tara? I know we have to have those services, and we have to pay for them as well. Okay, no questions? All right. Thank you, Tara. We appreciate it. All right, need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I propose an ordinance making an additional appropriation for fiscal year 2024 in the general fund utilizing unrestricted fund balance for York County Shared Judicial Services.
Second?
Motion made and seconded, we adopt the ordinance. Any concerns, any comments? Any questions? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Hucks?
Aye.
Mayor Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
All right, thanks, Kim. Item 3, under new business, is an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2024 in the Capital Projects Fund for Amory's Wharf Living Shoreline. Tara and Laura, the floor is yours.
That's okay. Thank you, Mayor, council members. Tonight I have Laura Noose with me tonight. If you recall, back in August of last year, we brought to you with the recommendation of the project of the Living Shoreline at Amory's Wharf. At that time, you appropriated $100,000 towards the project with the hopes of providing a grant or us receiving a grant in the future. We have found that applying for grants are easy, but we necessarily don't have all the documents necessary to be awarded the grants. So therefore, our recommendation tonight is asking for council for an additional $124,009 towards the projects. It is our hopes once we complete the project, what at the time was estimated of $150,000, that any additional money remaining will be amenities towards Amory's Wharf. We have an ordinance tonight appropriating that additional money. We are taking $24,009, I know that's an odd amount, from the Wetlands Creation Restoration Fund that is held in the General Fund Restricted Fund Balance, as well as $100,000 from local ditch maintenance in the Capital Project Fund. We have found that the ARPA funds have provided us with the funding we need for our local ditching, so therefore we're asking of a transfer in the capital project towards the project, giving an overall $224,009 towards this project. And we have any questions?
Okay.
And the mastermind about the project is, of course, do we have any questions about that?
Okay, all right. Are there any questions of either of these two ladies? Well, the project's going to be super.
Super excited about
Super
it.
excited about it, I know it. Okay, no questions? All right, thank you, guys, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, let's adopt the ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2024 in the Capital Projects Fund for Amory's Wharf Living Shoreline.
Thanks, Keith.
Second.
All right, motion made and second that we adopt the ordinance. Any concerns, comments? Any questions? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilman Hucks?
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting?
Aye.
Mayor Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
All right, thanks, Kim. The last item on the new business is a resolution making appointments to the Library Advisory Board. Someone prepared with some names? No one?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution making appointments to the Library Advisory Board with the following names: Kathleen Powell for reappointment and Kathleen Gibson as a new appointment.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made and second. We adopt the resolution with those names inserted. Any other comments or concerns? All right, Ms. Kim?
Councilman Hucks?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Mayor Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one of the many hats that I wear on the community's behalf is to be half of the York Poquoson Social Services Board. I just want to thank you for allowing an opportunity for Margaret to come and speak specifically about the foster care issue. 7 children having to go into foster care from Poquoson in a very short period of time is so unusual as to be close to unique. And it's really straining our system. So thank you for allowing her to come. She will be back next month at your second meeting to provide the annual report of all the work the social services does. But this was so important, we thought we needed to bring this one forward. So again, thank you for allowing that to happen.
Absolutely.
That's all I have, sir.
Okay. Mr. Hucks?
Thank you, Gordon. I have no comment tonight.
Okay. Ms. Debbie?
No comment, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor.
Keith?
No comment, sir.
Wow. Angie?
Thank you to everyone who came out today to speak. Also, thank you to city staff and the city manager. They stay late, they answer my questions, they provide insight and context, and it is very helpful and very much informs my decisions. So thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Bud?
I'd like to second those comments and also to thank everyone at home who's paying attention to the city government. Encourage your friends and neighbors to do the same. And I hope you listen to the presentation from Ms. Giroux, the Director of Department of Social Services. Foster care is important, and those kids are real people. And if you can help, okay, I sincerely advise you to pay attention and ask questions and possibly step up and help. Thank you very much.
All right, Bud, thank you very much. I just have one comment, and we'll go back to the petition that we got, and the speakers that were here. I've certainly not spoken to all of these folks, but I've spoken to at least 12, and I was just looking for their name. Let me just reiterate, some of those that are in our audience who spoke tonight, I've pretty much, I think, spoke very clearly about how I feel about what's going on at the end of Hunts Neck Road with regard to improvements. We have a legal issue that I'm not going to discuss, but the comp plan has probably had that plan, had that project in the comp plan for many years. I mean, it didn't just come up this year. I'm not so sure it wasn't on here when I came in on council, and that was in 1982. So, and those folks that are calling me, I encourage them to do that because I need for them to know exactly how I feel about that project. And I think I've made it clear to the speakers tonight, and I've made it clear to those folks that have called me and emailed me. Okay, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made, second, we adjourn, Mr. King.
Councilman Southall? Aye. Councilman Hucks?
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.